Cat. I can't talk too loudly because it's 9 in the morning and I don't know what day of the week it is. It's me, Ranger Jake, and I live here now, I do this now, and this is my hair now. Take it all in. It's been about a year since the I-45 Galveston trip, aka my favorite trip ever, so I decided, new year, new place, why not make this a series? Why not do it again? So I'm just gonna go out, hit the full start to finish of another interstate, and I'm just gonna have fun with it, because I'm doing it right now. Let's go.
I-19 is an incredibly short interstate spanning north-south from Tucson, Arizona to the international border. Despite being the 7th shortest interstate in the lower 48 states, I-19 is an incredibly important shipping route across international lines, though it really is short enough to do an entire trip like this in a single day. And I did, kind of. Also, side note, I'm going to talk about saguaro cactus a lot more in depth in a future video, but as someone who had never set foot in Arizona, like at all before I moved here, I just had to throw this in. Growing up, you always see pictures of saguaros in cartoons, but there'll only be like 1 or 2 of them in this wide open desert, so moving here I thought they'd, be around, but that they'd be more spaced out. But no, they're everywhere, and they're really close together, like really seriously packed in together. Holy shit.
Hi, hello, again, it's me, Jake. If you know me, good. If not, how dare you? Welcome to Tucson Mountain Park. I don't think I've ever really featured like a local park on this channel before, but we're doing it today because this one is really big. It's really cool. And also, I live here now, apparently. You see, the name checks out because that's Tucson and that's the mountain. Okay, so I had planned on doing this whole bit where I had like a little fire right here, but then it rained earlier for the first time in like a month for some reason, and everything got wet. So instead, I'm just gonna put the last 2.5 years down here. Just tuck that in, and that ought to burn neatly. At least we're almost out of the pandemic, right, guys? Also, before we get started, I'd like to introduce you to our new co-host on the show. This is Herb. He is from Possum Kingdom State Park. His age cannot be measured in silly human constructs like numbers or time, and he is secretly pulling the strings in the shadows. And I don't just mean like the strings of this channel or the strings in my life. I mean like all of the strings. So yeah, he's along for the ride now. Not that he hasn't always been. And you'll see more of him around. Also, if you couldn't tell by that balcony intro, this entire video is completely unscripted. I'm Drew Carey, and this is Whose Line Is It Anyway? So if you don't live in Tucson or you aren't wild about international shipping, you probably don't spend that much time thinking about Interstate 19. But I-19 is actually incredibly unique for a very strange reason. Allow me to take you back to 1975 when Jimmy Carter was pulling the strings and I don't know, whatever else happened in the 70s. Congress decides it's time for America to modernize and distract from other things. And thus was born the United States Metric Conversion Act. The United States Metric Conversion Act of 1975 essentially told states, hey, you guys can convert to metric for things like highway markers and measuring, if you want to. And then collectively, almost every single state in the entire US said, no! That was until the Arizona Department of Transportation said, oh, well, someone's got to try it. and thus Interstate 19 was chosen to be entirely converted to metric signage. The change to all metric signage was welcomed with surprisingly open arms in southern Arizona, although it never really spread anywhere else beyond here. So today we're just kind of left with one random interstate that uses kilometers and meters. It's kind of cool though. I guess it's nice if you're coming up from Mexico. You don't have to change to miles until you get to Tucson. That's nice. Also, correction, that wasn't Jimmy Carter. That was Gerald Ford who was president when they did that. Jimmy Carter didn't become president until 1977. I just looked it up. But that just seemed like a very Jimmy Carter thing to do. Try and convert the entire United States into metric and then not.
Just south of Tucson, I-19 passes by the Xavier del Bac Mission, the oldest European structure in Arizona and one of the most impressive Spanish missions in the U.S. Founded in 1692, the mission has existed as part of New Spain, Mexico, and the United States throughout its history, and unlike many historical Spanish missions in the U.S., it is still actively run by the Franciscans and continues to serve the community around the San Xavier Reservation.
If I were to ask you what southern Arizona looks like, you'd probably say it looks like this, and maybe a few of these things. And then I would look you dead in the eye and say, you are correct. Absolutely, that's what it's supposed to look like. So then, if this is southern Arizona, what the heck is all this? What's going on? Well, welcome to the Bajarita Wilderness. Fed by one of the few perennial streams this far south in the state, the wilderness area around here is actually one of the most unique in southern Arizona and supports an incredible abundance of endangered species. We're going for a walk. Herb, guard my shoes.
The Bajarita Wilderness is part of the Nogales division of Coronado National Forest and a string of small mountain ranges in far southern Arizona. It's a hotbed of life among miles of rolling hills and mountains, supporting a number of endangered migratory bird species and also serving as an important corridor for multiple large cat species, including mountain lions and ocelots from Mexico to the U.S. The canyon here looks amazing, but the way in was actually quite eerie and strange. Bajarita is one of the quietest places I have ever been to, and the thick dead foliage gave off pretty strong fire swamp vibes.
This particular part is called Sycamore Canyon, and I think it speaks for itself. There's a ghost town a little ways that way, and beyond that, quite literally, pretty much nothing as far as you can see. And Mexico is about 5 miles that way, which is kind of crazy. Ooh. Also, there's this. Woo! It's pretty wild, huh?
I-19 ends in Nogales, a quiet border town on the edge of the otherwise desolate Tucumcari highlands. The freeway ends and feeds into Mexico, and the town sits among the hills on the northern side of the fence and watches the border wall split the sunset in half. It's definitely strange to drive a whole interstate in just a few hours, but I feel like it fits the desert out here well.